Well, good morning. It's a great day at Emerson Institute here at City of Light. It is a beautiful opportunity, a wonderful day to celebrate the seeking of great wisdom. Welcome to Emerson Institute. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz. I'm the senior minister here at City of Light and the dean of our location of Emerson Institute. Today, you are part of this wonderful class experience on the Neville Reader. The Neville Reader is an exciting book, a collection of essays by author Neville Goddard. These essays are all featuring the wonderful awareness of the power and presence of God in our lives and an inner power to create an abundant life. A lot of focus on the power of imagination and how it works in our faith. And today we're going to be looking at an interesting take on Eastern symbolism and how it brings such insight and light to the ancient scriptures. By understanding the Eastern wisdom, we have so many nuances come to us, so much to awaken to the power of truth in our life that makes the ancient writing of Scripture so practical and so positive for our journey. So I'm so glad you've joined us, and let's prepare for today's class experience. Let's do so by resetting our energy and our vibrational level by taking 3 deep breaths. We're going to breathe in through our mouth, hold for a moment, and release out through our mouth. Breathe in through our nose, release out through our mouth. And in doing so, what we want to do is just release stress, all the cares of the day, and allow ourselves to be even more present in this moment and to allow the Spirit of God to speak to us. Following that, we want to set our intention. Now, our intention is really a desire of our heart. It is a prayer. We are speaking that which we desire. We want to claim that. What will be your intention for this time that we share together? So let's begin by engaging in this breathing exercise. 3 deep breaths. Breathe with me, would you please? Breathe in. Release. Deep breath in. And release. Deep breath in and release. And in this moment of quiet, in this moment of silence, set your intention for that which you desire to transpire in your life. Let this be your prayer. This is what I desire. And so it is. Amen. Well, this is our second series of 8 weeks in our study on the Neville Reader. We are in class number 7, and we're focusing on the chapter entitled The Law of Creation. And in this chapter, we're having an incredible breakdown of some exciting nuances found within Scripture. I want to tell you how exciting, how powerful the Bible can be for us. Unfortunately, we read it so often, and we read it literally so often. We're taking it in the English language word for word and not really understanding from the Hebrew or the original Aramaic so many nuances and essences of symbolism that are so powerful and bring to light the true message of the writers. So when it comes to ancient truth of the Bible, Eastern biblical symbolism tells us the deeper story. And this is our effort that we want to engage in, is going deeper and deeper into study, deeper into understanding the spiritual truths that are afforded to us through the scriptures. So let's look at one of the stories of the Bible and see how the prophets and writers of old revealed the story of creation in Eastern symbolism. Let's look at the story of Noah and the ark. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this, and we focus a lot on Noah building the ark and the animals coming in 2 by 2 and all this kind of essence of the story. We focus a lot on that. But let's today look at Noah's 3 sons and understanding some spiritual depth to this. Noah had 3 sons, and they were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Or Japheth. Everybody has a different pronunciation. Depends on if you're a northern or a southerner. We got to have a little twang to that. So what we have are 3 wonderful sons, each having a powerful meaning. Now, the name Shem means name. We'll talk more about that. Ham means warm and alive. And Japheth means extension. So we need to stop and notice that the names of the three sons also contain the same formula of creation, as does the divine name of Jehovah. Remember last week we looked into the breakdown of the letters of Jehovah and how that really we found deeper meaning into what God is, who God is, how we express God. There was so much depth to be offered to us just in looking at the letters of Jehovah. The Jod, He, Va, He letters. And we're going to look at that a little bit more in review so we can put it all together. So let's take a look at last week's lesson. The symbolic name of the Creator, known as Jehovah, is composed of the four Hebrew letters, J-O-D, Jod, He, Va, He. Jod represents the absolute state or consciousness of the unconditioned, meaning the absolute state or awareness of this unconditioned, not limited, not jaded consciousness. Unlimited, okay? So this is the I am consciousness. The I am is unlimited. You can put anything with the I am, correct? I am brilliant. I am beautiful. I am handsome. I'm amazing. I am successful. I am healed. I am whole. I am perfect. There are unlimited possibilities that you can express in that. So the first letter expresses or conveys to us that God is this infinite consciousness of unlimited possibilities. I'm so glad that we have so many class members joining us today here in our classroom today. We're delighted to have you, and we're certainly delighted to have each and every one who's joining us through live streaming as well. And if you have your notes, please take them out and let's take a look at these notes and maybe jot down some comments or some things or questions you may have as we get to explain them. If you've not received the notes, please reach out to me before each class at revtpaul@aol.com. I will let our registrar know. Dr. David Carter will be sending out all the class notes. So if you want to follow along with a packet of notes to help us move quickly through our study during each class session, please let me know. We'll make sure that you get the class notes. So what we have here then is the first letter of Jehovah describing the I am consciousness. The second letter, He, represents the only begotten, meaning the only begotten Son, which we find within Scripture, meaning that which is the only thing that's ever birthed within us. And what's the only thing that's birthed within us? Desire. That's right. What's birthed within you is your desire, your intention. And like we began our class today by setting our intention, we are expressing our desires. So this is what we find is it symbolizes an idea or a clear mental picture. So the first letter of the divine and how the divine works is that of understanding an unlimited consciousness. Second letter describes that there is a desire to be expressed within each and every one of us. And the third letter symbolizes the act of unifying or joining the conceiver, the Jod, with the He, the conceiver with the desire, bringing them together. And that's what the third letter talks about. And this is fixing a mental state. Consciousness becoming one, or defining yourself as the state desired. So what we find in just these first three letters, the whole spirit of creation, how does this consciousness work in our life? It's found within this unlimited possibilities. It's found within the desire that we express. It's found within joining the unlimited possibilities with the desire and living from that perspective. And then we find the last letter, He, again. And this is the understanding that Jod, He, Va makes man or manifested in the image and the likeness of itself. It bears witness to the meaning of the previous letters. And the world then is the image and the likeness of the subjective conscious state which created it. So it's the image and likeness of the consciousness that is God. It is created in that likeness, in that very image. So when we say that we are created in the image and likeness of God, we're created in this wonderful character of divine manifestation. We've got a question coming in.
Okay, so the Yod is the I am, the Hey is the desire. So if I say I am successful, the Vav is the joining of the I am with my desire. So yes. I am successful. And then the last Hey would be the manifestation of what I've declared.
Yes, it is the fact that is the understanding that which you've declared is true. So does everyone grasp this? This is the very meaning of Jehovah. So when the writers were trying to describe what is God, how is God working in our world? How is this universal consciousness unfolding in our day-to-day experience? This is the very breakdown. So the Hebrew name was describing exactly what Jehovah is, what God is, and how God unfolds in the creative energy. We have a question coming from Norma.
So God is not a noun, it's a verb, it's an action.
Yes, I love that. God is an action. God is a verb, yes. Because we've gotten so accustomed to thinking of God as a being, that we're praying to a man, we're praying to a physical being, we're praying to some location or state. But that's not what God is at all. God is not that, but we've symbolically tried to present God in that human form to help us find some context to understanding and relating to God. Unfortunately, the concept that we've created in our mind has become what we think is our reality, or what we read more true than the symbol of God, or the idea, the conceptualization. We've made it into now something concrete for our lives, just like Santa Claus. Really, the spirit of Santa Claus is that of generosity and giving, is it not? And that's what we're really called to celebrate as we're in the gift-giving mode of Christmas time. It's that generosity that we express. But we don't look at Santa as a real being. I'm sorry if I just burst your bubble. We know it's a symbol. It's a concept. We've conceptualized this spirit of giving and generosity coming from this wonderful man at the North Pole who wants to give wonderful gifts to children and bless them at Christmas time. So we look at this as a symbol, but we really understand that Christmas is about this wonderful sense of generosity. So we want to remove the idea that God is this man upstairs on the throne, somewhere in the clouds, somewhere out there in the universe. Instead, understanding what God is this consciousness, this wonderful energy, a consciousness that we tap into, an awareness, a consciousness that is unlimited. So there are no boundaries. There are no limitations. All infinite possibilities. That's what God is. And sometimes it'd be helpful if we even stop using the word G-O-D. Because when we think of God, we start thinking of a being. So instead, what if we just said, we're here to celebrate God, but let's say we're here to celebrate infinite possibilities. We're here to celebrate the universe and the vastness of the universe, for that's what God is. So when we begin to change our words, we begin to change, shall we say, the pictures that form within our mind. So understanding that God is this unconditioned, unlimited, infinite possibilities of the I am. God is then the expression of desire within our lives, this consciousness expressing within us. Then God is this feeling of knowing and believing it is so. And then God is truly this manifestation that we are created in this image and likeness. Everything we're creating is in the image and likeness of the divine. Doesn't mean it looks like a being. Doesn't mean it looks like God in physical form. But it looks like God in character and in essence. You see, it looks like God, for God is love. God is not a man with two hands and two legs and a wonderful nose just like me. That's not what God is at all. God is this wonderful essence, an energy, a force. God is so much more than just a being that's limited to one spot. We say there is not a spot where God is not. God is everywhere. Yes, Norma.
I'm still working on this idea.
Yes, great.
What I'm thinking is when we get into a spot where we feel like we need to go to God for an answer, what we really need to do is ask ourselves, what do we desire at this moment?
Yes.
In which case it might be peace, or it might be love, or compassion, or whatever.
Right. So, as Norma's saying, as we go to God, well, first of all, we go within, for the presence is within us. And we look to what is our desire. What is it that we really want to see manifested? And in that manifestation or that desire, we are very specific around the feeling of that which we desire. So that feeling may manifest in the material in a wide variety of ways. Let's just say you're looking for a loving relationship. Well, you can express the feeling that you so desire of this loving relationship. But we also, sometimes people get caught up in the specifics. Oh, the loving relationship will be shared by this handsome man with flowing black hair, and he's 6'5". Well, let's go 6'6". Let's even throw an extra inch. Let's just make him he's wealthy. He's all these wonderful things. He drives this fabulous car, and he has a gorgeous home, and he's all these wonderful things. He's so handsome, and this is what I want in a loving relationship, only to find that man may be very cruel, insensitive, not very kind, not equal partnership with you. So you got caught up in the material, okay? So let's go back to the feeling and allow the feelings to manifest for you. So when we say, oh, I want this loving relationship, and what I want in this loving relationship is someone who treats me as a partner, someone who cherishes me, someone who will provide security for me, someone who might allow me to expand and grow and find my own space in equal relationship. We can go on the list of things that we really would want. And that man may be 6'2". He may have, no hair. And he may be, totally different than the image that you had. But what is it you want? That material image or the feeling? So this is where we release this attachment to the material, and we can say this or something better. Now, I'm going to give a caveat to this, is that, we may have a visual of this tall man, that symbolizes these feelings, because somehow we might feel that this height and secure is going to give us more security, and it symbolizes those feelings. And because he's so strong, it symbolizes the security he would give us. And you would think his arms were so wide and broad that he would just cherish us. So these things symbolize a feeling. There's nothing wrong with, on a vision board, having a picture of something that symbolizes, but not being so attached to the materialistic outcome, but allowing this or something better. And the something better is what we allow the universe to unfold, for the universe knows even more the desires of our heart than what we even do. Often we get muddled in expressing our desires because we haven't really worked them out, shall we say, like pulling taffy, where we really haven't stretched and said, what is it I really want? Oh, I've never really thought about what I really want. I've just thrown things out there, but I've not been specific to say this is exactly the desire of my heart. To do the work of really contacting, coming to God, coming to the presence within, be clear about your desire and be clear about the feeling. That's where the work is done, in the energy and the emotion of the feeling. And we're going to talk more about that. So now let's look at the symbolism of the names of Noah's 3 children. So what we find here is that Noah, the father, is the symbol of the conceiver, the builder of a new world. And it's equivalent to Yod, or J-O-D, or unconditioned consciousness, or the I am. So Noah symbolizes the Father. And again, I can't tell you enough how important it is that when we read Bible stories, we're putting ourselves in the story. So you, in this context, are Noah. You are the one who is expressing this unconditioned consciousness, unlimited possibilities, as you say, the I am. Now, the son, the firstborn, is Shem. Shem is your desire, that which you are conscious of. The Hebrew is just so beautiful in the symbolism here. And I tell you this, people miss this when they read the Bible literally. They're missing all the beautiful nuances that are found deep within Scripture that paint a deeper picture and greater meaning and help us understand the nuances of each and every story, how it is the psychology of the soul and helping the soul unfold for its highest and best. So Shem is your desire, that which you're conscious of. And it's the equivalent of the second letter of the divine name, the He. Okay? We found Yod, the I am. We found He, meaning Shem being equal to that, your desire. And the next son, the second son, is the warm, live state of feeling, which joins or binds together consciousness, that which is desiring the thing desired. That sort of consciousness that says, this is what I so desire for my life. And it's the equivalent of the third letter of the divine name, the Va. So what we find here then is the third son, Japheth. Japheth means extension, or is the extended or objectified state, being a witness of the subjective state, and is the equivalent to the last letter of the divine name. It means, Japheth is the sense of that which you believed and desired to be true is true for you. It is there. Okay, that's the last letter of the Jehovah explanation. So what we find here is Noah's three sons are so symbolic of something so powerful in our life. That you are Noah. You are the knower. You are the creator. And the first thing that you give life to is what you want to create, what you think of. The first thing you give life to is what's your desire. Because if you haven't expressed a desire, how are you giving life to? And what are you giving life to, right? So it all begins with desire. What's your desire today? People say, oh, Pastor, I just should have no desires. I should be so modest and humble. I should just be, sort of monastic in my lifestyle. I just live simpler and simpler, and I don't want anything at all. Okay? So not wanting anything at all means you're not creating, right? You're not being the creator you're called to be. So we have to say, wait a minute, what are things that I'd like to desire? And desires do not always have to be material things. Oh, please, let's move well beyond that. How about, are you desiring to be a greater light in the world? Are you desiring more love or to be more loving? Are you desiring to be more compassionate to others? Are you desiring more empathy? Are you desiring to be more successful that in turn you may share in greater ways? Are you desiring to be more generous? Wow, there's a lot of things. And each of these desires are creative when we express them. And expressing, I am generous. I am prosperous, and I bless the world. I am the light of the world. I am a light radiating, shining on each and every one. I desire to be a greater lamp unto somebody else's pathway. I'm going to be that which is the light of brilliance that helps to create a world that works for everyone, not just a few. I desire, oh, wow, those are amazing creative desires. So just know that you are the knower, the creator. And the first thing you give life to is that which is your desire, or the firstborn, Shem. Shem symbolized your desire, your firstborn. that which you first give birth to. See, the Hebrew letters are on, these words are just trying to convey a deeper truth to understanding. How do we live in this world? How do we manifest? How do we create? How do we make a world, then, as we say, that works for everyone, not just a few? Well, first, let's bring forth our firstborn son. Let's bring our firstborn. And what is that? The desire. Okay? Your second son is Ham. And it's the secret of feeling by which you're joined to the desire so that you become conscious of possessing the thing that you desire. So this feeling is so important. I have a desire to be a light. I now feel what it's like to be a light in the world. I'm radiating, I'm touching people's lives. People are feeling love and compassion as I radiate this energy of light and love. People are coming to me because I feel that I am radiating all the essence of the divine love and good. Okay? So the desire coupled with the feeling. The third son is Japheth. It is the confirmation, the visible proof that you know the secret of creation. The third son is the confirmation, or it is the manifestation. So do we understand the three sons of Noah? You're the knower, you're the creator, that's who you are. And who are your three sons? Desire, feeling, and manifestation. Okay? So we find this then in the story of Noah, that after the flood, they opened up the ark. All the animals come out, and Noah and the family come out of the ark, and they're all, so happy and celebrating this new life in this new world. And the story goes on that as they began to drink of the fermented grapes, for the first time they're experiencing something that's fermenting, and Noah gets drunk. And in his nakedness in the tent, Ham, the son, goes in the story and sees the father naked. Oh, we think, that's a whole story about nudity, and how terrible that is. And suddenly Ham now is being punished because he saw his father naked. And we think how literal this story is all about. And suddenly we're saying, this is why Ham is a descendant of that which meant to be slaves. And some people even say, well, Ham symbolizes the black race, the African race. They're meant to be subservient to the white race, to the others. Because why? Well, because Africans love ham. I have heard some of the stupidest stuff come out of people's mouths and how they put things together. Let me tell you, I love ham too. It's the craziest stuff of biblical literalism and where they've gone. Sometimes I just like, where do you get this stuff? But anyway, let's break that down. It's really not a story about Ham seeing his father naked at all. It's symbolic of this, that Ham is the secret of the father. It is through feeling that consciousness of your desire is joined to the thing you desire. So in the story, it's metaphor that Ham sees the secret, the essence of the father, described in nakedness, meaning, this is who I am. Meaning, there's no mystery over here. I am naked. There's no covering. There's nothing blocking. Seeing the Father as the Father really is. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And of course, that's why we have such trouble with our body consciousness, because we put so much shame on seeing something naked. We think that's horrific and terrible, and shame on you, instead of saying, this is symbolic of we all should be naked in spirit. And let's let go of all these facades, and let's just reveal our true consciousness and who we really are, and let's expose ourselves to one another in this spiritual sense. And mind you, the Bible is all talking in metaphor about your spirituality, not your history or the history of what's going on. This is not a historical story of Ham coming into the tent and seeing his father naked. It is metaphorical for us that Ham, feeling, now sees the essence of the knower. And as a result, Ham is now, commissioned to serve the other brothers and to serve everything else. So what are we saying? Feeling serves all things. Feeling is the servant, is the worker that brings about the manifestation. So feeling serves Shem. And what is Shem? The unlimited consciousness of the Father now is joining with the limited consciousness of Shem through feeling. So the unlimited of God, but yet in our own minds, sometimes we live in the realm of limited possibilities. And our thinking is limited. And we limit it with this big word, H-O-W. We're stuck there. How? How's this going to happen? How's this going to work? How's this going to unfold? It's just not possible. I don't see the how. And so our consciousness is limited every time we go to the how. Let go of the how. How do you let go of the how? By joining with the unlimited consciousness of the divine, of the Father, of the source, of God. Okay? The unlimited consciousness. And how do we join? Through feeling. I now feel the possibilities. I now feel unlimited opportunities. I now feel this. And I let go of the how because I'm feeling it's already accomplished. I'm feeling it's already done. I'm feeling the miraculous already there. And that's how you join together infinite possibilities of the divine, of God, with you and your consciousness. It comes together through feeling. Ham, which is symbolic of feeling, is now serving the others. Yes, David.
So, Ham is the feeling. Okay.
Symbolizes the feeling.
Okay, so we go back several lessons and we think about consciousness joining with the subconscious, our consciousness wooing the subconscious to do what it wants, and the subconscious is feminine. So even in what you just said, it's still the masculine and intellect joining with the feeling,
right,
to create,
to
manifest.
Right. So Ham is symbolic of the more effeminate or the feminine essence of feeling within our lives, and that doesn't emasculate Ham in any way as a physical being in the story. It's just simply saying that he symbolizes the feminine within every man and every woman. And there is masculinity within every man and every woman. Masculinity symbolizes the intellect, the knowing, and femininity symbolizes the feeling and the emotion. And they come together in our consciousness at all times. I know this and I feel this. And when I bring those together, it's a creative force. So what we find is Ham serving Shem and Ham serving Japheth, in that our world is made visible. It comes to manifest. How? Through feeling, through Ham. So Japheth is the manifestation. And how did it come about? Through feeling. Everything that you're going to manifest in your world will come as a result of your feeling. Okay? So let's just say, I have a feeling it's going to be a great day. And it manifests a good day. Or I have a feeling it's going to be a horrific day. Oh, it's going to be full of problems. And what happens? It is. So as we look at what our feelings are, that's the energy, that's what the womb, shall we say, of birthing our realities, okay? But in that womb of feeling, what do? We impregnate that womb of feeling with our knowing, that which we profess. The word that we speak becomes that which we profess, and it impregnates the feeling, the womb, and there becomes a birthing process. So we find that which you're speaking out, that which you're proclaiming. I'm proclaiming it's a great day, okay? I am now putting out the feeling. I'm putting those words, the intellect, that which I know, and I'm imparting it into the feeling of my spirit, and just says, whoa, knowing and feeling have come together, and bam, I've just created a great day. It's fantastic. Okay? How about I'm going to profess I am healed. I'm healed. That knowing now comes together, and it goes and it impregnates the womb of feeling, the feminine, okay? And in that feeling, I feel healed. I feel really good. I feel energy. I feel my body moving. I feel the back pain gone. I feel liberated from this. I know and feel, and I create my reality, and I manifest my healing within my body. That's faith at work. Okay, David, you have a question.
Okay, so the subconscious is the servant in the sense that it is the thing or the entity that actually brings forth the manifestation. So
Yes.
even if we look at the subconscious as the servant, there's power in that because the conscious can't do anything without joining to the subconscious.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Right. I mean, it's even in humanity.
Right.
All the sperm in the world is not going to bring about babies unless there's a womb. Yeah. And the egg, excuse me, yes. Meaning yes. But the womb containing the egg, yes, exactly. And the egg within the womb. There we go. Let's get some clarity on that. We got to have those things. So all the knowing without the feeling, it's not there.
Right.
And all the feeling without the knowing is not going to get you anywhere. So you can feel a lot of things, but if you don't know what you're feeling, you haven't worked it out, and that's the clarity that's needed, the focus that's needed, that you got to work out what is it you desire, because the womb, shall we say, is waiting to be, shall we say, impregnated with the desire. Where is it? Wishy-washy. I don't know. It's all over the place. Oh, I don't know what to create then. You know, I don't know what to manifest for you because you're all over the map. You know, and that's so many of us because we haven't taken the time to maybe journal, to write out, to contemplate, to meditate. What is it you want? What is it your desire? What do you want for today? Did you even spend some time thinking about that? What kind of day do you want? Well, the womb, shall we say, of life is saying, well, you didn't say what kind of day you wanted. Don't know how to manifest the desire because you haven't stated the desire. And stating the desire is that spoken word. And the word was made flesh, we find in Scripture. That which you're speaking out then goes into the womb of feeling and gives birth. So how important it is that we understand how it is that the spiritual manifests and works in our world today. I'm going to tell you this. You start naming your day. You start naming your day, and you're going to start changing your reality. You get out of bed, and you start, it's a good day. It's a great day. It's a powerful day. And then what about that is powerful and good? Let's start naming it. Let's get specific. It's going to be a great day in everything I do and all the people I interact with. It's going to be a powerful day. And that's scripting. So we might take a moment to script. Write out, what does your day look like? Because if you don't name your day, the womb, the creative force is waiting. The egg is waiting for the sperm. It's just there. And how can it give birth? And the day goes by, and should we say, the cycle of life just gets rid of the egg, and it's gone. And the day's over, and you didn't manifest anything. So we find here that the ability to feel the unseen is so true, so real. It is the secret of creation. The secret of creation. Do you understand this? This is the whole, the law of creation, this chapter is trying to get us get across this very powerful secret. The secret by which the word or unseen desire is visible, made flesh. What do we find in Scripture? And God, consciousness, right? God, consciousness. God calls all things that be, not as though they were, but calls things to be, not as they were, but as they are. Okay? That's the ancient truth. So we start speaking not as you see your day unfolding, but as you would like your day to unfold. So you may say, oh, look at my day, you know. I planned doctor's appointments, errands to run, house to clean, people to entertain, activities to go to. Certainly I'm going to Emerson Institute for the class. All these things you put in your agenda, and you're like, how do I work it all out? Well, you start then by naming the day. All things are working together beautifully and without effort and with great ease. Divine order is all pulling things in together beautifully. I see my day as this. I call things as I desire or as they ought to be, not as they are. Because as I look on paper, I may say, oh, I got too many things to do. You may say, I don't know how it's going to unfold and how it's feasible. Instead, you begin to just relax and call forth the day as you desire it to be. Now, we find that consciousness calls things that are not seen as though they were. Do we understand that? Consciousness. God. God is calling things that are not seen as though they are. So as we're connecting with this divine consciousness, we're going in this divine mind. We're welcoming this wonderful divine consciousness within ours, and we're joining together. Our knowing says, I know it to be true. Even though I don't see it, it is true. By faith, I see it and I live from that perspective. So what happens is by first defining ourselves, our desire, we express it, and secondly, remaining within the divine state until it manifests. So I'm going to tell you this. If you're calling forth today being a great day, and you did so at 6 a.m., you need to stay in that state of believing it's a great day at 8 a.m. And you need to stay in that state of believing at 10:30. And at noon, you better be in the same state of believing that it's a great day. And at 4, the same state of believing it's still a great day. And at 7 at night, and until you go to bed, you remained in that state of believing. Okay? So here's how true it is for our lives. If you're saying, I am whole, then you can't just say, I profess this at one moment, but the next moment I go, I am not whole at all. I'm in pain. I'm not healed. Let me get back. I am whole. I'm whole. Oh, but I am not whole. You can't just go back and forth like this. You can't be wavering all over the place. You've got to remain in that defined state of believing this area. I remain here and I hold fast. My faith is consistent. It is not wavering. Now that Noah's identity is established as our own consciousness of being, let's name something that you would like to express. Okay? Think about it. Right now, we're going to do a little exercise. What would you like to express? What would you like to see accomplished? What's the desire of your heart right now? Everyone, I want you to think of one. I'm going to give you a few minutes to just think, what do I want to desire? Love, grace, peace, unity, compassion? What do I want to desire? And how might that look and be manifested within us? Okay? So what is you'd like to desire? Okay? Next, feel that you already have it. Okay? What does it feel like to already have that which you desire? So if you desired healing, what's it like to feel healed? Okay? Do you continue to complain? Well, no. Why would you complain? Because you're healed. So then, would you complain now if you think you're already healed? No. Okay? So what would your thinking be like if you were already healed? Liberated. I would be thinking about other things other than my own pain. Next step is don't question how it can be done. Again, can't emphasize this. The how, when we get into the how, we just move into the field of limitations. And we begin to shut down the infinite possibilities of the universe. God is working in unusual ways. And trust me, just let go and let God do the how. Your job is to feel it already done. Then assume the attitude that would be yours if you are already in possession of it. What's the attitude? The attitude of mind that would already be yours if you're already in possession of it. Well, wow, resolution for healing in particular. What's the attitude of mind? Great joy, complete gratitude, a celebration of manifestation of the power of God. My attitude would be, this is fantastic what is already manifested within me. What else can I manifest? Where can I go next? Because I'm so full of gratitude of what's been accomplished. So the thing here is experience the joy of Ham. Experience the joy of feeling. Okay? Ham being symbolic of feeling. Ham finds this joy in serving his brothers, Shem and Japheth. The joy of making the word flesh. Wow. Now that's the beautiful. Suddenly we're exonerating Ham rather than lowering Ham and saying, oh, he was just a servant and he's being punished and now he's there to serve. And as if serving is being a bad thing in the first place. But we played it out like Ham now is a slave. What? No. The scripture's pointing just that Ham is finding joy in serving. Feeling has joy and emotion in saying, what did you desire? Let's join together. You are the masculine and I am the feminine. Let's come together. Let's birth something amazing. I'm waiting to serve you. It's like the egg within the womb, waiting for the sperm with great joy to say, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And now you're here. Let's create. We're going to make life. We're going to create something powerful and manifest within our world. So we find here that we can experience the joy of serving intellect, the joy of helping to manifest, the joy of collaboration, the joy of working together. John 1:14 says, the word is your desire, right? The word. I express my desire. How? By speaking it, right? The word. The word became flesh. Your desire manifested. How? And made his dwelling among us. Let our word then manifest in our world. What are you speaking? You're expressing desires all the time. And whether people realize this or not, in their ignorance, they've been creating a world that maybe they don't even like. In their ignorance, they've been speaking, this world is terrible. There's chaos. There's all kinds of challenges. It's too difficult. This world is just, and we're so negative in the words that we speak. And then we just create more of it because we hold it in consciousness. We believe it, and what we believe manifests for us. So we're believing our world is a mess, and it becomes even more of a mess because we are making it become flesh, become real, become our reality. So let's monitor our words and let's speak the highest and best. Let me tell you this. Never speak of anyone else that which you don't want for yourself. Ooh. Ouch. Because we've spoken a lot of things about other people and we really wouldn't want for ourselves. But we're putting that out. It's being created and manifested in our world, in the world that we live in. We live in. Let me tell you this. You cannot pee in the far end of the swimming pool and it not affect you. Do you get that? Okay. A lot of people think, hey, I'm just going to go down to the 6-foot area of the pool and I'll pee there. No one will know and everything will be fine because I'm staying in the 3-foot area. Okay? You see how ridiculous that is? Well, so it is when you think, well, in my area, I'll be fine. I'm just going to put out all this negativity. I'm going to go over here and I'll just dump some negativity. I'm going to pee on the world over here. And I'm going to go over here and think my world's all sunshine and roses and absolutely perfect. Do we realize we're all in the same pool? Do you realize that? So be careful where you're peeing, all right? Be careful, Don't piss on somebody else, okay? Be careful what you're saying because you're putting out these words that are manifesting in our world, all right? Great advice. I love the Bible. It's practical. It's even so practical it makes me laugh at how simple and beautiful and amazing it is as it teaches us this simple truth for our lives, how we can live successfully. Let's go to the next chapter. It's called The Secret of Feeling. Okay, here again, Eastern symbolism comes into play and it's unfolding for us even more nuances of understanding practical, positive spirituality for our lives. The secret of feeling is told in the story of Isaac, who was blind, blessing his second son, Jacob, in the belief that, he was really blessing his first son, Esau. But he did so based upon feeling. Let's make sure everybody understands the story. Isaac had 2 sons. One, the elder, Esau, was very hairy and maybe symbolizing some masculinity. And Esau being very smooth-skinned, maybe symbolizing the femininity or feeling and emotion in life. Remember, what we're trying to look here is not literalisms. We don't know that Esau was any more masculine than Jacob was, okay? So what we want to understand here is that these are just metaphors or symbolic to illustrate or to help us conceptualize a truth, to help us understand it. So let's not take any of this literally and create some sort of judgments about either one of these people because they're symbolic. So what we find is the tradition of the Eastern culture was the firstborn would always receive the blessing of the father as he was coming of older age and maybe going to pass on and transition from this world. So it was a tradition that the father, maybe on his deathbed, might call forth the oldest son and lay hands on him and offer a birthright blessing, saying, "You are heir to all the good that I have left. You're heir to everything. I offer this birthright blessing." Okay? So what we find is that Jacob and his mother had worked together and kind of were in cahoots and said, "Wait a minute, what if you got the birthright blessing?" The mother, having shown some favoritism, would like to see Jacob get the birthright blessing. So they had an idea. We're going to send Esau off as a hunter, because he was a big hunter. Send him off to hunt, and he's going to bring back a catch, maybe killing a deer. Bring it back, and we will prepare the meat. We'll have a lovely meal, and Isaac can bless Esau with the birthright. So Esau is sent off to go hunting, and while he's off hunting, the mother and Jacob plot together and say, "Wait a minute, you're going to go in. Father is blind. Isaac is blind. He won't know that it's not Esau except by feeling." And Esau was hairy. "So we're going to take some lamb's wool and tie it on your arms," because he's going to feel for the hairiness of Esau's arms to know that this is Esau. Because he knows that if he touched Jacob, Jacob would be smooth and did not have hairy arms. So they plot together, and while Esau is off, Jacob goes in to the father. "Father, I'm here for my blessing." "Okay. You don't sound like Esau. Let me touch you. Let me feel. Let me feel." So what happens is he says, "Come near, come near. Let me feel your arms." And Isaac begins to feel Jacob's. "Oh, by feeling, I see that which ought to be, not what is." Because by feeling, Isaac is saying, "I see you as Esau, but he's not Esau." But feeling said he was Esau. Did you get that? So feeling changed everything because he felt it was Esau. It was Esau in his mind. So he was ready to give this blessing because he felt the feeling was at work. The feeling said, that which I believe to be true by feeling is true. So you are Esau, and I bless you. And so what happens is the father offered this blessing. And when Esau comes back from hunting and says, "Father, I'm ready for my blessing." "What? I already blessed." Now, Esau represents the problems in our life. The problems that we want to send off hunting so we can work on a solution. We got to get, the problem is we keep thinking the problem is a problem. And that's the problem with the problem. It's always a problem. And we're cycling over and over again. And let's send that problem off hunting so we can work on the solution. Once the solution is unfolded for us in our lives, what happens? The problem wants to come back. But here's the thing. Once you've already believed and your mind has already gone in the state of feeling to believe it is true, that the solution is true, that the problem is resolved, that it is done, and so it is. When the problem comes back, you go, "Wait a minute. You have no place here because I already know it's accomplished. I already know it's done. I already know it's possible. I I already know. So problem, what? There's nothing I can do for you because it's already done. I don't need you, okay? So here Esau's coming back and saying, Father, bless me. And Father's saying, I've already extended the blessing. Feeling said Esau was there. And so the blessing went out to Esau. Now you're coming back to me and saying, you're Esau? But no, my reality is I already blessed Esau. Feeling, I touched and I said, I feel this is Esau, and so it is. So I already blessed Esau. So who are you? What are you doing coming back? You see how it works in our life? Norma has a question.
I'm having trouble with this.
Sure.
So even if what you do is not right, if you believe it and you feel it, it becomes true.
Well, okay, what we've been taught in this story is Jacob's deception all the time.
Right.
Let's pull that out of the story for the first place. Okay, let's just remove that. That's a whole nother class we can talk about because we've been interpreting the story, Jacob the deceiver. Okay, so let's go on to understand that what Jacob did is, it's not going to look at what Jacob did. Let's look at what Isaac did. Okay, because this analogy is all about Isaac. Isaac was ready to bless the firstborn. Jacob came in and presented himself as the firstborn, and Isaac believed by feeling that this was the firstborn and blessed it, and so it was. So in our life, we are Isaacs, okay, in this analogy, in this story. Problems may come to us, and we don't know how to work them out. But solutions, and Jacob in this analogy is representing solutions. Solutions are coming to us, and when we feel them to be true, we act as if they're true, and we bless them as if they're true. And when problem returns, we go, it's already done. You have no space here. So let's just say you have a bill, and you're financially strapped. You are Isaac, okay? And you may see this bill laying on your counter. And you may look at your bank account and say, I only have so much money, I can't pay this bill. How am I going to do this? What you do is send them out hunting, so to speak. Set that aside. And in this moment, you're going to welcome the solution by feeling. You're welcoming the solution. What's the solution? I have the money. I bless now this experience. I bless the opportunity of paying this bill. I know without a doubt that financially I have taken care of this. I feel it to be so true, and I'm rejoicing and I'm filled with gratitude. It is done. I feel it. Draw near to me this feeling. Let me feel, oh, prosperity is mine. I am blessed. I'm feeling it. Yes, I know this to be true. And then when you come to that place of such believing, you've ignited this wonderful faith that attracts to you the miraculous. Now, you may go back and look at that bill and going, why am I worrying about this bill? Why are you presenting me stress and worry and fear? I've already resolved that this bill is paid. I've already gone to the place where it's done. I've already lived from the perspective and the feeling. It's already, eradicated. This bill is no more. So now I just live in that knowing. And you know what? The money will come to you. The means will be there. How? What did I tell you? Get out of the how. Don't even go to the how. The how is not yours. Why are you worrying about the how? That's God's work. That's the consciousness of the universe to do. Okay? So God says, I'll take care of the how. You just welcome the feeling. Okay? So I think, are there questions here? David, you have a question.
So in the story, if it's my story, then I'm blind Isaac. Okay? And I'm focusing on the physical experiences or physical problems in my world.
Right.
So the physical problems represent Esau, or Esau represents
right.
my physical world.
Right.
Okay, so if I have an issue or a bill or whatever it is, when I send it hunting, I take my attention away from it.
That's correct.
So when you take your attention away from something, it loses its power.
Correct.
And I started, and so then I look at what it is I desire.
Yes.
And I say that I can pay this bill. I am prosperous. So I'm joining what we learned in the other chapter about the Yod Va.
Right.
Okay, so I'm feeling that desire. I'm feeling that what I desire is prosperity, so I can pay my bills and live comfortably. So I'm believing that. I'm putting all my attention and focus on what I desire.
Right.
Okay, and so in that case, then what I desire is manifest in my world.
Right.
Okay, so the problem, I took my attention off the problem and started focusing on my desire, and then that becomes truth for me, right?
Because you're living as if.
Right.
Right. Beautiful. You got it. Let's go back to the story I keep telling you. The priests get in line, or the rabbi, I guess we'll just say rabbi. The rabbi gets in line to buy a train ticket to go to a destination. He's standing in the hot sun, waiting all day in line. A young man sees the rabbi there and says, "Rabbi, go sit down. I'll stand in line and get the ticket for you." He buys the ticket, comes over to the rabbi and says, "The rabbi, here's your ticket. It's $29.95. And the rabbi says, "I don't have any money." And the young man says, "Well, I've just bought you a ticket. And what were you doing in line?" He said, "I was in line expecting to get my ticket. And I got it." And the young man says, "Now what do I do?" And the rabbi says, "Get in line." Okay? So this so beautifully illustrates to us exactly what this story is all about. When we embrace feeling and we act as if, get in line. You don't know how it's going to happen. The rabbi didn't know how it's going to happen. What did he do? He just got in line. But did he have the money? No. The how was not his concern. And when we let go of the how and that making that our concern, we open ourselves to all kinds of unlimited possibilities. Now, when we're focused on the how, we just narrow down the possibilities. How is it going to work? Well, I'm going to work 3 jobs. I'll take the night shift. I'll pinch pennies. I'll sell everything I have, and I can pay this bill. Okay? Now we're working really hard, right? How about we let the universe do the unfolding, and we just trust? We say, well, that sounds like the lazy man's way. Trust. Honey, that's the way you were intended to work. As we allow the universe to do its work, allow God to be God within you. But you've been saying, no, there's no room for God to manifest. There's no room for God to work in me. I'm going to do it all myself. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to take 6 jobs. I'll just work myself to the bone. I'll die trying to pay this. People say, well, that's good work ethic, isn't it? There's good work ethic and there's wise work ethic. It says, yes, let's do everything to the highest and best that we can. Yes, no doubt about that. But allow the universe to support you in everything that you do and to enable life to be moving forward for you with great ease and the divine grace and generosity of the universe to be at work in your life. Does that explain everything? Have I lost anyone? Anybody else got questions on this? So what have we learned? We learned that if you are Isaac and we're blind to all the things of this world because we can't really see the spiritual, what do? We go by feeling. And we say, I know I'm going to bless. I know it's going to work out. But I need to feel. So let me feel. Okay, I feel, this is Esau. This is it. I feel it. I'm in the right moment. I got it. I feel it. So it is. I bless it now. And it manifests. And Jacob received the blessing. Now that's the lesson that we're learning here. There are multiple layers of lessons. We could go on. Let's not, cloud each lesson with the other, because there's many different things that we're being taught within each story. There's all different levels, but we don't want to miss this, because this is describing for us the very secret of feeling and how it works within our lives. So here's the method by which the invisible is made visible. Okay? First, send your firstborn Esau hunting. Send your problem. Take your attention away from the problem. Second, your eyes still closed, but your attention is removed from the problem and you're consciously focusing on your desire. Feel the desire as your reality. Third, in the absence of Esau, the absence of the problem, invite Jacob, the solution, to come and fill the space. Feel it to be in your immediate presence right now. I can't emphasize this enough. It's not feeling something that, oh, well, maybe 2 months down the road, maybe 6 months down the road, I'll be healed. No, it's feeling it right now, okay? Now, Esau, the problem may return from the hunt, but you've already established the blessing. So you've felt the desire fulfilled, and it can't go back. Because once you say, I'm already healed and I'm feeling healed, you're now moving in the realm of that healing of unfolding for you. You can't go back. Now, that would be faith that wavers. And that's what we're called to do. All right, Dr. David.
Okay, so a practical story for us would be your desire for a sidewalk.
Yes.
The problem was you did not have a sidewalk.
Right.
You really wanted a sidewalk.
That's correct.
And so you took your attention off the fact you didn't have one, and you start believing that you did, and you put it into practice by actually walking your dog up and down the imaginary sidewalk.
Yep, I felt
until
it.
it manifested.
That's right.
Until you actually received it.
And
You
it
believed
manifests.
Yeah.
And I wasn't worried about the how.
Right.
When you don't worry about the how, you're allowing it because you're already living as if it's already there. So the how is not an important component for you because you've already are living as if it's done. So if it's done, you don't care how it was done, it's done, right? You're not worried about the how anymore because you've already moved to the end that it's finished. Okay, Anne.
Okay, so I'm sitting here feeling all girly.
Oh, good.
And, so you have talked about discernment. You talked about it Tuesday night. And also, can intuition, for me, there's a couple of steps in the wiring of my brain before the feeling. And one of them could be intuition. Ooh, that would be nicer. Ooh, I don't think that's such a good idea. So that would lead into maybe discernment, which would say, is this something that would be for my highest and best? And so then comes the feeling. And so does that sound, I mean, I'm trying to be logical. I
Right.
don't get, I mean, I've been charting this as a flow chart
Right.
almost, in a kind of a logical sequence.
So what you just expressed is your very masculine thinking, okay? So even though you're feeling girly, you're thinking very manly, okay?
Okay.
So let's just laugh
Well,
about
that's
that.
good to know.
But here's what we're saying. We are trying to discern. That's the intellect, right? And what is the intellect? The masculine, okay? So what you've been trying to do is, I need to figure this out. I need to think, what is our desire? What is this good? I need my intuition. I need to discern. I need to think this through. That's all your masculine side. That's the knowing, okay?
Okay.
So once you define what it is you want, then you put the feeling with it. But first, Anne, spend your time thinking, what is I want? And then attach the feelings.
Okay.
But part of our problem is we're going it backwards. We're trying to figure out, what do I feel I want? Versus knowing what I want and then I'll feel, okay? So we're like, well, I'm feeling sweet and kind and I'm feeling loving and tender. What does I want? Well, I don't know, because I'm just having all these wonderful feelings. Well, here it is. First, let's describe from the intellect, from the discernment, from your intuition, what is it I want in life? Well, Anne, you're a seeker of wisdom. You're enrolled in these classes. What do I want? I want to be a woman of wisdom, okay? That might be one thing that you could declare. I am a woman of wisdom. I am Dr. Ann Sears. I will be that in a matter of months, and so you're already claiming it now in advance. I am Dr. Sears. So that is your expression, and in that, the I am. The feeling is, I am receiving and knowing, imparting, and offering great wisdom to the world around me. I love being a wise woman, you might say. And in that, you may think, I want to be wise for my grandson, Harrison. I want to be wise for my daughter and her family. I want to be wise for everyone that I encounter. I am a seeker of wisdom, and that may be one of your desires that you speak forth. And I see that in your life, whether you're really acknowledging it already because you've enrolled in these classes for what? Not just to attend class, but to become the wise woman that you desire to be.
So it wasn't, oh, that would feel good if I had
Right.
a master's degree. There's quite a few steps that have to go, with me anyway, before that. And
So you really,
balance.
and that's your process. That's, shall we say, the masculine side. That's the knowing or the intellect, working things through to say, well, why would I even want a master's? And one day you said, you know what? I really do want a master's. You expressed desire. And desire is that expression. That would be the masculine. And it went into the womb of feeling, or connected with the egg in the womb. Let's get more scientific here. And that which you declared. Now, and what happened? You birthed a master's, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So we look at that and see desire manifesting in your life. And what happened is when you stated what you want, you began to feel about it.
Yeah.
And I've heard you saying, you know, I've already stated I want my doctorate. And then you begin to feel, wow, I'm going to be Dr. Ann. I'm going to be Dr. A. Here I go. In my world, I'm going to be this woman of wisdom. I'm going to be one who can share light and insight to the world around me. And suddenly those feelings rise up about your desire, and they help you manifest even more so that which you desire is who you are.
In that process, if something comes along that's maybe overwhelming to me or takes my time away from working on my paper, that's the part where you have to leave it to the universe, knowing what your desire is. And I'm just trying to process this through. So it's good to put space. Sometimes you need a little space from that process for a while.
It
Step
can
away.
be, you know, and there may be a reason why you need that space, because something is troubling or something's working you and you need to work through that so you can
Right.
move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Good.
I'm trying to work it in a practical.
Anyone else? Comments or questions? All right, we're going to move on here just real quickly, because as we go to closing here, with this knowledge of the power to bless, you can open the doors of any prison, remove difficulty, and overcome any obstacle. So what do we find here? We find in these two chapters a real clear understanding of how this wonderful creative work happens through the illustration of the three sons of Noah and their meaning in our life. Okay? So the three sons are at work in you. The three sons are, again, this wonderful intention, this desire, this feeling, shall we say, and that which is then the actual manifestation. That's what's at work in our lives. That's the power of creation. And then we look at the power of feeling within our lives and this story then of Isaac, Jacob, and Esau, and understanding that when we embrace the feeling, that's the creative, and that's the egg that's now been fertilized, that now is bringing forth the wonderful manifestations within our life. Knowing and feeling come together, and we have a creative force. Masculine and feminine coming together, we have a creative force. There's masculine and feminine in each and every one of us, because each and every one of us has knowing, and each and every one of us has emotion and feeling. And when we put that together, no matter who we are, no matter what our physical gender may be, we are creative and we are birthing. I'm so glad you joined us today for our class. And so as we conclude, we're going to ask, what's your takeaway? What spoke to you the most in this class session? What's this little nugget of truth that maybe you're even still wrestling with, or that you just say, this was my aha? We'd love to have you share it with us. So if you're joining us through live streaming, would you take a moment to just type in the comment section your takeaway? Let us know what spoke to you today because of this, as a result of this class. And while we're waiting for you to do that, we're going to go around our classroom and invite those who are here to share what's your takeaway. What spoke to you today? What is the sort of like the aha that struck you? Let's go over here to Brenda first on this side.
what hit me was that you have felt the desire fulfilled and it cannot go back. And what that means to me is when you put the work in and you know that the desire and feeling have connected, you get a complete feeling of relaxation of whatever the problem was.
Right. You release it.
And you don't go back.
Right.
And you feel very at ease.
And that's the work of gratitude, is that once we have the feeling that what our desire is fulfilled, we attach the gratitude that says, I'm so grateful that my prosperity is here. I'm so grateful that the healing that I was believing for, I already received. I'm so grateful for the loving relationship that I was claiming I'm already engaging in. I'm just already grateful for it. So that gratitude sort of seals it, shall we say, wraps it up in a box that nothing else can come against it because you've already said it's so. And I'm living so. I'm living as if. I'm living as if I have a sidewalk, as Dr. David used the illustration. I bought a home, didn't have a front sidewalk. I believed it was there. I began to walk the dog up the sidewalk. I went to the mail up and down the sidewalk, and people said, what are you doing? I said, I'm walking out my front door on my sidewalk. What sidewalk? There's no sidewalk there. I believe there is a sidewalk there, and I'm living as if there's a sidewalk, and I'm not crazy. And you know what? Today there's a beautiful sidewalk. And I didn't focus on the how, because at first the how seemed to be, I don't have the means, but it all manifested beautifully. And now you can come to my home and walk up the beautiful sidewalk to my front steps. So it's the feeling that it is done that enables it to manifest in greater ways. Let's go to Anne. Anne, what's your takeaway from today's class?
So to add on to what Brenda said, the peace that you get after this process is what leads you into the moment, not before or after, future or back. And this gratitude is what allows us or serves us into joy, which is really where our happiness is.
Yes. Good. Excellent. Wonderful. Let's go to Norma. What's your takeaway?
I'm going back to the original thought that I had. God is a verb.
Yeah, I like
God is a verb.
When you have a problem, figure out what feeling you want to feel.
Let go of God being a being or man, and God is a verb. God is this action. How beautiful. Wonderful. Let's go to Amy.
I was going to say Norma's, because I wrote that down, that God is a verb and action. Way more so than trying to figure out what all, all the symbolism. I'm kind of on the fence about all that. I don't know how any normal person could read the Bible and come away with all of this. And I understand that each Greek letter means something, but this is like, I don't know where you get all this, but this isn't being critical. That's just my feeling. So.
And I love that comment, because I think let's address that comment, is that people say, well, where did all this come from? And how do we know this? But it's ancient wisdom, and wisdom is meant to be studied. Yeah. It's not like you could just read a little pamphlet and go, oh, I know exactly how the world works because I read a little pamphlet. But what it's going to unfold for us is the study and the work, the evolution that comes to us over and over again. And Amy, you're doing such a beautiful job attending these classes over the years of putting the pieces together, because as you've had questions here, you may find a little bit of an answer over here and a little bit of an answer over here, and they come together, and before you know it, you're going, now I'm understanding it. Because the whole journey of seeking wisdom is not an overnight experience. And so it is that there's so many deep nuances to understanding that we're going deeper and deeper and deeper. So today, what we were doing is actually breaking down some Hebrew letters, which the average person who's reading in English doesn't even know anything about the Hebrew letters and doesn't done the word study at all. So we're just reading the story. So what we're doing is skimming the surface, and we're wondering, where are you getting all this stuff down here? I'm up here on the surface. I didn't know that there was all that stuff down there. Well, that comes through study. As we go deeper and deeper and deeper, we get down to the bottom. Okay. We have another question.
Brad online is asking if you will repeat what the audience is saying because he can't hear them.
Okay.
Here's your response, but not what they're actually
Thank you,
saying.
Brad. I was hoping that the mics were picking them up, but if you can't hear them, we'll make sure that we respond. So Norma's takeaway is God is a verb. Amy's takeaway is she loved God as a verb as well, and it's helping her understand. She's just having some challenges a little bit with all the, should we say, deeper nuances, and how does this come about? Where do we get this? Because we can read the Bible so literally or just surface, and none of that really comes to light. Well, because the Bible is offering you the phrase, your work is to do the interpretation, to break it down, to discover the nuggets deep within, the truth within.
Do you think the people that read this after these books were written understood all this?
Amy says, do you think people who read this understood all this after it was written? Well, it was written in a way 2,000 years ago, and even more so, thousands of years ago. People used these metaphors and idioms, and they would know that. Now, certainly, let's just say if you were writing to the Hebrew culture, well, if you spoke Hebrew, you would understand the background of Hebrew, and you would already understand the letters and what they mean, and you would break down these things. So, because we don't speak Hebrew, we're at a disadvantage already from square one.
Read this shortly after these books were written and came to life. Your next generation of people or whoever wrote it all, I just can't imagine getting all that from this.
We're so culturally different.
Yeah,
the Eastern culture was so different than the Western culture. Western culture is very black and white and very literal. Eastern is full of symbolism, all kinds of symbolic. We don't use symbolism as much as an Eastern culture would. We may speak in a little bit of metaphor, but today's world is even getting less and less around that. When we say somebody's like, well, she's out in left field. Do we really believe she's out in left field? But what does that mean? You see? How about, when someone said to me, run to the store and get a sandwich for me and step on it. Well, did they want me to step on it? Why would you want me to smash on your sandwich? You see, we have these nuances in language, and they're even greater in the Bible. They are even more so. So we need to look at idioms, original language, context. We need to look at all these nuances, and even the historical setting, which says, what did people do? How did they think? What was their operating modus? How did they just exist? Oh, they existed totally differently. They lived totally differently than we do today. So our, point of education is really so, 2 + 2 = 4. Rather than the symbolism behind all of this, of bringing this and this together, creating a larger amount. So we learn so much through rote and just saying, these are the black and white facts, just learn these black and white facts, versus what's the meaning behind the black and white facts? What's the symbolism behind? So that's why quite often some of our Western thinking is a little bit up here and Eastern thinking a little bit down there, and it's hard to cross over to them. So the Bible is written in Eastern thinking, not in Western.
There's 2 comments. The first, I know we're studying New Thought, and New Thought is teaching us to think, which is not always taught in churches or religion.
Right.
My ultimate goal that I see out of studying that is that we are learning to get along with people in the whole world. We're looking at being able to take all the religions, all the belief systems, and work them through to find the commonality.
Yes.
To get along in the world. That's my ultimate goal. Peace in the world. And the other thing is, I have a metaphysical dictionary because I was fascinated with all of that when you started teaching us that. But it's a little heavy.
Yes.
You need a lot of background in Bible and history. You need a lot of background, and it gets lengthy. But I'll share it with you.
No.
Well, and that's why Anne's bringing out that New Thought is teaching us to think, and that we don't often come to religious contexts being invited to think. We're like, don't think, I'll just tell you what to think. And so what we're finding is that we're now in a thinking environment that's engaging, questioning. And I love every one of your questions. And there's no wrong question or bad question or question that should be asked that you would feel embarrassed about in any way whatsoever, because we're learning together. And our goal here is to get enlightenment, not just to say, okay, the pastor said it so, and I don't understand it, so, we're just going to bypass that and live it to be so. So this is a thinking environment. And yes, as Anna's brought out, that we're engaging and understanding the thought of the world, of not just our Western world, but of an Eastern world as well. And how does this all put together? Because truth is universal. Truth that is true in India is truth that is true in Atlanta. Truth that is true in China is truth that is true in Tennessee. Doesn't matter where you are, truth is truth, okay? So there's principles that we're learning that are spoken of all around the world that is truth, and it's spoken in different ways. So the Bible is speaking truth through Eastern analogies and symbolism. People learned through symbols much more in the ancient Eastern culture. They loved the art of storytelling because storytelling was entertainment. Now, I lived in Kenya. And in Kenya, we didn't, those years growing up, we didn't have television. There are a few people who had it, but there was very few people who actually, and television in Kenya, there was the news, and I think it came on like 4 o'clock and ended at 8 o'clock. That's all the programming they had. Although once in a while they did have Charlie's Angels in Swahili, which was, very interesting, the translations. But my point is this. What we did do for entertainment was sit around in the evening, around a lovely fire, maybe a copper kettle filled with glowing embers, and everyone have a delicious cup of hot tea. And we would sit around and talk, and people would tell stories. And that was entertainment. Now, you know why I tell stories? Well, I grew up in talking so much. And a lot of my cultural influence through my years in Africa were all about storytelling and how important that was, because people listened to the entertaining story, and yet they got the metaphor, they got the lesson.
Yeah,
so, yes.
One of in studying the energy, the first modality was therapeutic touch, and a woman by the name of Doris Krieger founded that. And I was interested to read that when I was reading about her, that she did her nurse's notes in symbols. And it actually showed some of the symbols. And my initial feeling was maybe she didn't want to color her reporting. She just wanted to make it like a universal report without negative or positive connotations. And maybe that's true. I haven't really figured all that out. But it does seem that symbols would relate the truth, is what you're saying, so that it would be devoid of coloring anybody one direction or another. It would be the same.
And in every symbol or metaphor or story, there are multiple layers of conclusions that people grasp from each one. So a storytelling may have all these different levels that are going on within our journey.
And nurses are really trained so hard, at least they were in my day, to report the findings for the physician. You didn't put any of your own interpretation in it. You put down exactly what was happening. And it showed to me now that we're talking about this, how that, and I also did a timeline for my paper, so it showed how the thinking and the feeling evolved as time went on from the time that she started that till the present day, because the nurse theorists expanded more and more. They got involved in the mental health of the patient. They got involved in what the family meant to them and how that was reacting and all that. So, anyway. Good.
All right, let's go here to Lise.
I just wanted to say I thought this was so interesting because the Hebrew name for God is Hashem. And so I thought, it's sort of like, I guess, healing and desire.
Yes.
Which is almost new. I just thought that was really interesting. this before, that you have to remain, you said remain in the divine state of believing, because if you go away from it, then you're not going to manifest. And I feel like I have a hard time with that, so it's like good to hear it again. It's like you need to remain in that state of feeling.
Beautiful. Lisa's comment is to remain in that state of feeling, to stay there and not waver out. And how beautiful that is. Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's see. Everybody else? David, did we get yours?
No.
Dr. David Carter, tell us
Okay.
what your takeaway is.
I really love the method by which you make the invisible visible.
The method by which you make the invisible visible.
Right.
Excellent.
And to me, when you get at the end of this whole method, it's as though saying, your word, the word you speak, your desire, it won't return unto you void. It manifests that which you speak.
So we need to proclaim constantly that which we so desire. And don't let our profession, the words we profess, that which we speak, change or alter or waver in any way. So if you say, I am successful, then you say, I'm successful every day. You don't just say, I'm successful today and tomorrow I'm a failure. You just never wavering in your profession, that which you're speaking out. Because your word goes forth and it becomes flesh. It becomes material. It manifests within the spiritual world. And Steve, I'm sorry, yes. You got Steve, yes, to join too. What's your takeaway?
It's not really so much a takeaway, but a suggestion. Because to interpret the Bible like we've done today with this lesson, people will need some resources. And Ann mentioned one already about the Metaphysical Dictionary.
Metaphysical
Charles
Dictionary,
Fillmore put together that reference called the Biometaphysical Dictionary. But she's right. It's a heavy book, not just figuratively, but literally. It's a big book. But he also wrote another one that's easier reading, a little bit lighter, called The Revealing Word.
Right.
So that's been a helpful resource as well.
Great resources to help us as we're understanding more and more of the metaphysical. I want to do the best I can to help you find these nuggets. We're going to dig deep into Scripture and to find the ancient truths to unfold for us. That's the journey of our classes here at Emerson. So we're going to do the best we can to help you on that journey. Don't get frustrated. We're going to help you dig through and find the power that's there for your life. This is positive, practical spirituality that comes to us as we look into ancient wisdom, as we look into the Scriptures. We find it unfolding for us. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so glad that you're part of Emerson Institute here at City of Light. I'm Dr. Paul Grutz. I'm so glad that you're with us. I look forward to seeing you again next week on Thursday at 10 a.m. for a continuing study. Now, if you've enjoyed this class, I encourage you to make a donation. We'd so appreciate that. If you found this to be rewarding and fulfilling for you and you enjoyed the dialogue, well, we appreciate you going to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com. And there you'll find a donate button. I appreciate your generous giving. Thank you so much. Your giving enables us to do the amazing things that we're doing here at City of Light each and every day. Thank you so much for your generosity. God bless you. You have a great day. I'll see you next week.
Good.